Welcome to the conference and welcome to the session. I'm really glad to be here with you. I do want to ask for your help tonight. I have been sick most of the last week, so my voice is not completely back. So there are going to be some times I ask you to participate, and probably mostly that's going to be because I need a little bit of a rest right in that moment in my voice. So I'd appreciate it if you'd help me with that. Connection in a fast-paced world. I don't know if you looked at the information and had any idea of what it might mean, but I want to ask you, thank you so much. I want to ask you if you have some specific ideas about what your fast-paced world is like and how that impacts you. What do you think of when you hear fast-paced world?
Passing in the hall with each other.
Passing in the hall, and just kind of like ships in the night? Yeah.
Just a lot of changes, things happening and changing around you a lot.
Things happening and changing around you a lot. Others? Yeah. Overscheduled. Yeah, way too much going on. In the back.
Yeah, we don't have to take time to get to know our neighbors, even on our own posts.
Yeah, not getting to know each other, even when you live next door. Others. Well, when I thought of this, I thought about all of the things that impact us and take up our time. Overscheduled was one of the things I thought about. How much we have to do to be on for our kids, getting them to team games, dance and music training, all of those kinds of things. And I also thought about all of the technology that impacts us in our world, that expects us to respond, emails and texts and cell phones, and how all of that impacts us. And we're trying to scramble and get all of that in and somehow still have relationships. And that's really where the issue is that we want to talk about tonight, is we want to be able to impact how we have relationship. The lack of connection in our relationship often end up reaching for less healthy alternatives. These alternatives might be innocent, like a game app on your phone, but often they are more serious, and they are addictions: alcohol and drugs, pornography, sex addiction, gambling, overeating, over-shopping, just to name a few. There are so many things that can lessen the quality of our relationships. So what, if anything, can we do? For the remainder of the session, I want to talk about connection. Why are we talking about connection? Well, because we really do all want good relationships. We want to have strong families. We want our children to grow up with good relationships. We want to have good relationships with our children. And so the way that we can do that is what we want to talk about tonight. When we have a few solid and strong, significant relationships, those connections help in gaining and maintaining balance in living our lives. When we know who we can rely on, where we feel safe and secure, that helps us face the complexity and uncertainty of the world. So in this, we want to focus on connection, and I want to talk about an important principle. It's important to focus on the strength of what we can do together. Dr. Gary Landreth is an educator of therapists, and he founded the Center for Play Therapy at the University of North Texas. In his training for play therapy, he uses some guiding principles, and I want to borrow one for tonight. It goes like this: focus on the donut, not the hole. When we look at that donut, if our focus is on the fact that there is a hole in the middle, that something is missing and something is wrong, then we miss out on the enjoyment of the circle of the donut. The meaning behind this is don't focus on what is missing or wrong. Focus on who the person is And so tonight I want us to talk about focusing on what we have together, thinking about creating healthy and strong connections in our relationships, and how we can strengthen them and enjoy them. To do this, we're going to talk about 5 things. First, let's have a common understanding of what we mean by connection. In this, we're going to learn about attachment and the importance attachment plays in feeling safe and secure in our world. Next, we're going to consider how to be deliberate about connection and the importance of being determined and committed in our significant relationships. Once we have put that energy and effort in, what can we gain from it? Well, we're going to gain an understanding of the secure base and safe haven that will provide us as our relationships grow stronger and more secure. And then lastly, we're going to look at resilience, creating resilience with our partners and our children. As we grow our relationships, we will also be more resilient, capable, and confident in life. So let's talk about attachment. Here's a definition up here. I'll let you read that as I speak. Attachment is generally discussed in one of these 2 ways, between an infant and the primary caregiver, a parent, or as the emotional bond in a romantic relationship. Now, I'm a little bit of a nerd on history, so a little history of attachment theory. John Bowlby is considered the author of attachment theory, and he started his work in the 1940s, and he worked with troubled boys, and he studied the relationship of the mother and son in relationship to these boys. Mary Ainsworth joined him in his research and then continued with her own research in Africa and then a project in Baltimore when she returned to the United States. Since then, there have been a whole list of researchers that have gone and looked at attachment and what it means to us. And so we are benefiting from that information today. I'd like for us to look at a video together. Okay. I'd like for us to look at a video together. This shows, helps us understand, shows the process, what happens for each one of us when we connect. It shows connecting well in a significant relationship and how difficult disconnection in the relationship can become. The researchers in this video are Dr. Sue Johnson and Dr. Ed Tronick. Dr. Sue Johnson has done significant research in adult romantic relationships and is the developer of emotionally focused couples therapy. Dr. Ed Tronick is a developmental psychologist and researcher known for the still face experiment video. And that video is about the connection between mother and child. And his research has captured the infant-caregiver relationship. So let's watch this together, and then we're going to talk about it on the back side.
Science tells us clearly that bonding goes from the cradle to the grave. Staying close to a protective loved one is the main survival strategy of our species. We can now look at pivotal moments in the dance we call bonding in infancy and romantic love and pinpoint the core moves in the emotional dance that defines so much of our lives and our happiness. This drama has just 5 basic moves. We reach, invite connection. If we don't get a response, we protest and push, or we turn away and shut down to protect ourselves from rejection. We finally go into meltdown. In a good relationship, we find a way to turn back and reconnect. If we love, we will do anything we can to get a response from our loved one.
Some of you have seen how this drama pans out in a YouTube video my lab released a few years ago called The Still Face. In it, we see the powerful impact a simple lack of emotional response has on a child and the emotional gymnastics the child goes through to try to deal with this lost connection. We need loving contact like oxygen. We really do not have many ways to deal with the pain of disconnection at any age. We will show you this original video and then show you how the exact same drama plays out with adult lovers.
You like a girl. Oh.
And she gives a greeting to the baby gives a greeting back to her.
Yeah.
This baby starts pointing at different places in the world, and the mother's trying to engage her and play with her. They're working to coordinate their emotions and their intentions, what they want to do in the world. And that's really what the baby is used to. And then we ask the mother to not respond to the baby. The baby very quickly picks up on this, and then she uses all of her abilities to try and get the mother back. She smiles at the mother. She points because she's used to the mother looking where she points. The baby puts both hands up in front of her and says, "What's happening here?" She makes that screechy sound at the mother, like, come on, why aren't we doing this? Even in this 2 minutes, when they don't get the normal reaction, they react with negative emotions, they turn away, they feel the stress of it, they actually may lose control of their posture because of the stress that they're experiencing.
Now let's look at the exact same drama in an adult couple at a moment when emotional connection is lost. We're going to be filming the session today so that you can watch it later, yeah? Okay, I'll be back in just a second.
I think this is going to be good.
Yeah.
I also think that we're going to have fun at my sister's birthday on Saturday. I love when you and I do things together as a couple.
Yeah. Look, I think we already talked about this, so I don't want to go. It's just not my thing, so I'm just going to stay home and watch TV.
But you said you would. And this matters to me. It's important that we do things with my family. That we all be together. What is happening here? Are you gonna talk to me? Now you're putting up your wall, like you always do? Are you listening to me?
Look, I just don't see how your family reunion is my issue, okay? Look, can we talk about it later? We'll talk about it later.
It seems like my feelings and what's important to me is never an issue with you. This matters to me, Ted. And you said you would come.
No, we can talk about it later. You don't have to get so upset.
This is where I feel like we're not even a couple. Like you don't care about my feelings. And we never talk about these things.
Well, now you're just being critical. And that's not talking, you know? After this, I'm just gonna go back to work.
I feel like I'm all alone here. Where are you anyway?
Why do you have to make such it's like a total emotional thing. It's not a big deal, okay?
Do I matter to you at all? You're mean.
No.
Mean and selfish. You don't care about anybody but yourself.
Why'd you marry me then?
Good question. Why did I? You don't care if I hurt. You're just not there for me.
When we feel cut off from our loved one, we go into a kind of panic. We have lost the connection that is our main source of safety and comfort. The baby becomes overwhelmed by fear and anguish when the mother does not respond to her. She loses her balance, her ability to regulate her emotions. There is no solution here to her sense of abandonment, and we see the same kind of process in Jill.
Yes. Jill is a strong, capable lady, but her mammalian brain codes this situation as totally painful and as a danger cue. She cannot rely on Ted to respond to her when she needs him. The reaching, calling, protesting, desperate demanding, and turning away and meltdown are the same in adult and infant. Now let's see a moment of repair in both relationships.
Okay. I'm here. And what are you doing? Oh, yes. Oh, what a big girl.
Look. Okay, look, you're really upset, and it's not you, okay? It's not you. And you're right, when it comes to this topic, I shut right down. It's just your family, it's just so intimidating. And, they're always asking questions about my career and how I'm doing and how we're doing, and it's a little much. I just block it out, okay? But it's not you, and you're really upset right now, and I don't want to see you upset, and I don't want you to think that I don't care about your feelings. So when this thing is done, we'll get out of here, and we'll talk some more, because you're right, we have to talk, okay? Okay, babe? All right. I'm sorry.
This is the moment of repair that seems to separate love that lasts from love that ends up in the divorce court or constant conflict. Every bond has moments of painful disconnection, but as long as there's a way out of the aloneness and the connection can be restored, the bond becomes safe again. The key is that Ted finally tunes into his lady's distress and responds on an emotional level, just like the mother with the infant. Ted helps Jill with her vulnerability by just opening up and being present with her. This contact calms down her nervous system, and now they can talk in a different way about any issues that come up between them. So, Ed, now we know that the drama of romantic bonding is an adult version of the bond between parent and child.
Exactly. Disconnection hurts, and how we handle these inevitable moments of vulnerable disconnection define how these bonds work out for us. We often don't see the impact on our partner of our lack of response to their emotional call.
Right. Reaching and responding on an emotional level is what transforms these moments of disconnection. But we can get stuck in angrily pushing for a response or shutting down. Now we know the basic steps in the bonding dance, and that this dance is often defined by how we deal with our fear of disconnection, and if we're able to move into repair. We are learning to actually shape the dance called lasting love and togetherness. Imagine that. This changes everything. You know, Ed, it reminds me of Walt Whitman's comment on life. He said, "We were together. I forget the rest."
reactions did you have as you learned about attachment? Anything stand out to you?
I noticed a very definite shift in my own body as I was sitting in this pain and discomfort of a disconnect, but then I noticed myself soften as they reconnected with each other.
Yeah, we really feel the disconnect when someone else is going through it. That really impacts us personally. I actually meant to give you a warning about that because I thought, yeah, that's something that typically happens for people as they start feeling that emotion themselves. Other thoughts? Yeah.
I can see myself in Ted, is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
In earlier years,
Yeah?
whereas I'm not really understanding what's going on in the relationship. I've got my own fear, my own issues.
Yes. Yes.
But I've also seen where the last several years of turning that around and saying, okay, I gotta understand what's happening within me, and then understand what's happening with her. That connection can come back just like that.
Yes, gaining an understanding of what's going on the inside for us, and also being aware of what's going on with our partner. It is so much a part of this, trying to build a safe connection, a healthy connection. Yes?
I think what struck me was the power of the repair moment and how just removing ego and how that just changed everything. And if you can remove ego and also take responsibility, I guess, for that, whatever your portion of the conflict was. That was really amazing to see that illustrated in both circumstances. But the power of the repair moment was really striking.
Yes, letting down our guard, removing ego, taking ownership of our own part of it, and the amazing impact of repair that can happen in a quick amount of time. Other thoughts and reactions? Yes?
It could have happened a different way. It could have been that the girl could have said something that would have mollified him somehow. And so it's like, it just takes one person, and I found in my experience, whoever's the first one to say I'm sorry tends to be the winner. You know?
Yeah, kind of the first one who softens and says I'm sorry can turn it around and create the reconnection. Yeah.
This created kind of a question for me. Does this whole repair function on a relationship that's like dealing with addiction? Or is that a whole different?
You have some other components there we could get into. I'll just make one statement about that, and that is addiction tends to be an alternate or conflicting attachment. And so when you're in a relationship with an addiction, you're also going to pay attention to how can we set that aside for our time that we need to connect. Okay, let's talk more about the details of connecting. So we want to look at how we strengthen our relationships. The first thing we want to talk about is be deliberate. Being in a relationship means allowing yourself to be seen. That can be really scary. It requires vulnerability and exposing ourselves when we would rather hide. To grow and strengthen your relationship together requires that you both be willing to risk being seen. Being deliberately a safe person. To allow your partner to be vulnerable and show themselves that you are a safe place to do that. Notice when your partner seems afraid to share and connect. Be willing to learn what that means for them and validate their experience. Be gentle and kind with each other. Be deliberate in connection with your partner. Intentionally and consistently take time together. Set aside a specific time during your week to just be with them. Listen to them, know them. This is not the time to hash out schedules or budgets. This is not the time to work through that argument you can never seem to settle. This is a time to know them and be known by them. Notice the lines and expression of their face. let the familiar become more familiar. And consider and notice what you have not noticed about them before. Look into each other's eyes. Find out what they are passionate about and how those passions change and take form over time at their speed. Be deliberate about your responses. Get to know what your partner means by their words, tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language, not what you think it means, what they say it means. Learn to recognize when your partner needs you to be listening, to hear their pain, and needs you to validate their experience and feelings. This is required for safety. Be deliberate in being vulnerable. Say what you are really feeling and the meaning you give to an experience, not just when it's a feel-good feeling, and especially when it's not a feel-good feeling. Feelings just are. They are a fact that happens in our physiology, the process that our brain and body goes through. And they show up even when we don't talk about them. Except that if we don't talk about them, that tells our partner something, and it may not be what's really happening for us. One way to be deliberate is to use material that guides you through this process. One of these is the book Hold Me Tight by Sue Johnson. In this book, it walks through 7 conversations that help promote relationship health and a lifetime of love. The initial conversations, demon dialogues, finding the raw spots, and revisiting a rocky moment, help identify the patterns that can put you into hurt and conflict and blame. It steps you through becoming safer for each other, and then how to be more vulnerable within that safety. Conversations 4 through 7, engaging and connecting, forgiving injuries, bonding through sex and touch, keeping your love alive. These use what you've learned about your patterns and help you form new connections and interactions where you can better recognize, validate, and care for each other. The book uses the metaphor of dancing together and as an image for relationship connection. Sometimes sounds and images provoke a specific dance in us. And in our relationships, this can be our tone of voice, our facial expression, how our body is positioned, moved, how we act with our body. We see and we hear and we apply a meaning to that without ever realizing what we are doing. And we repeat our conflicts over and over again. By slowing down and working on the moves together, we can define a new dance and grow and strengthen our love. Improving connection requires commitment and determination. Change is hard. There is no easy, quick fix if you are having relationship difficulties. Every change you make together requires effort. Being safe for each other, being vulnerable with each other. Spending a consistently scheduled time together each week probably will not show the immediate results that you want on the first week, but your determination and commitment will be needed to keep doing it regardless of the initial result, to stick in there to begin to build a pattern, a new pattern together. Use the resources that you have, and also remember that other resources are available. If you come to a place where you feel stuck or alone, reach out and get the support of someone outside of your situation, the support of a therapist in the process. In attachment, there are 2 phrases that are often used to describe the core structure that occurs in a primary significant relationship. That's whether it's a parent-child or a romantic relationship. These are secure base and safe haven. Attachment is described as being secure or insecure. When we experience a secure attachment, that connection, that bond, provides a secure base and a safe haven. When there is security in the attachment, we feel empowered to act. We can independently go into the world and navigate the world. It's a knowledge that we can take on whatever happens out there, and a trust in the security in our relationship, and that we can return to it. Safe haven is similar. It speaks to the side of the secure relationship that provides comfort and protection. You heard Sue Johnson say in the video, staying close to a protective loved one is the main survival strategy of our species. When life is difficult, emotions run high, and maybe the world is just generally unkind, the safe haven of your romantic relationship or between parent and child can bring much needed and desired comfort and is a safe place to regroup and regain balance. Resilience. Resilience is our ability to cope and recover from the difficult experiences in life. Our safe and secure connections promote resilience. Strengthening our relationships and becoming that safe haven for each other is so important to navigating our world. How does this happen? When considering the science behind this whole process, the process of attachment and being secure and safe, it's important to consider briefly some things that happen in our brain. If we look at the infant-caregiver relationship, we can see the role secure attachment plays in the development of the child. And it provides a protection from many different kinds of danger. This is how the child survives. We all see that. When we look at the child physically, we can see that the connection to the parent has provided that safety and kept them safe physically. There is also an impact from the attachment relationship directly on the development of mental functioning. And these relationships are vital to the organization of experience and also the organization of neuronal growth in the developing brain. Our adult brains, although developed and mature, continue to change and grow based on experience. This is called neuroplasticity. That's an exciting and hopeful concept. That means that we don't have to stay the same and be stuck in the same pattern. Attachment relationships may create a central foundation for the mind to develop, both in the infant-caregiver relationship and in our romantic relationships. One thing researchers in the neurosciences have discovered is something we call mirror neurons. So the way mirror neurons work is that it helps us actually understand what someone else is feeling. It allows us to experience what the other is feeling. For example, the enjoyment that a loved one has as they eat ice cream. That's mirror neurons at work. This is all part of the resilience. This is the thing that comes into play when we connect as a couple. The experience for lovers is a tangible power in actually looking at each other. There is a real power that's there. Resilience is the result of experiencing this safe and secure connection. Being intentional about being safe for each other and being vulnerable with each other promotes resilience in the relationship and for each individual as they leave to connect with others in the world and return again to the relationship. It allows us to be brave, to take care of ourselves and return to the knowledge and experience of the relationship. And it allows us to reach for each other when life is rough. Resilience increases as our relationships become healthier and stronger, as we live out being safe and secure for each other. I'm going to talk a little bit about attachment in our children. Creating the connection and the secure attachment takes place very similarly with our children. One thing to keep in mind as you are connecting with your child is that it's not the same reciprocal experience as it is in your romantic relationship. You are the secure attachment. You are the secure base and the safe haven for your child. You can use some of the same basic principles, though. Be a safe haven for your child and let them be vulnerable with you. Validate their experience. Acknowledge their feelings. Encourage being vulnerable. One of the ways that you can do this is to be deliberate about noticing your child and who they are, and actually set aside 30 minutes a week consistently to be with your child. Do what they want to do something special, engage in their play with them, and notice them. Pay attention to what's going on with them, see them. Tell them out loud what you're seeing. I see that you really enjoy music. Wow, you really know a lot about that video game. You just break out into a smile when you dance or run. They want to hear us, and letting them see us see them is a very important validating step for them. This helps you to develop and maintain that secure attachment you form with your child. By doing that, you're also giving your children an option to choose healthy relationship, because you're showing healthy relationship to them. You're helping them understand what a secure attachment is. And we all make choices in our lives, and they are going to experience the world just as we do, with all that's going on, the busy schedules and all of the interruptions that happen. And they are going to make choices, but they are more likely to make the choice of being connected in a healthy way, having a healthy attachment, when you have helped develop this secure base for them. That brings us to the end. And one thing that I want most for you to take away is this, that healthy connections and relationships are possible. And as we invest in each other and improve that secure attachment, are vulnerable with each other, are safe for each other to be vulnerable with, we will grow that, and it will allow us to have strength to go and navigate life. Thank you very much.